Hey there, and welcome to This Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled to be your guide today as we unpack a time traveler's roadmap for your upcoming 7th grade ancient history adventure. Now, if you're thinking this is just going to be about memorizing random dates and names, well, you can go ahead and toss that idea out the window. We're breaking down the exact curriculum that's going to shape your entire year of exploring the foundations of the ancient world. So, we actually have one ultimate mission this year. Just one essential question to answer. How did ancient societies solve problems of power, belief, and community? I want you to anchor literally everything we talk about today around this one concept. Every single unit, every civilization, every historical figure we look at, it all ties directly back to this central mystery. Because, it's not just about what happened in the past. It's about how early humans figured out the incredibly complex puzzle of just living together. Here is our roadmap for the year. We'll start with the Historian's Toolkit, move into early civilizations, then expanding the ancient world, new empires and faiths, and we'll wrap up with solving ancient global problems.
All right, let's dive into part 1, the Historian's Toolkit. This is Unit 1, covering social studies skills and tools.
Rather than just jumping feet first into random historical events, your first 10 weeks are really all about becoming a historical detective. History isn't just a list of facts. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a centuries-old crime scene. You really need to understand credibility and reliability. You're going to learn how to evaluate primary and secondary sources to figure out who's actually telling the truth, who's hopelessly biased, and what is just a complete made-up myth.
Think about it like this. You wouldn't try to build a house without a hammer, right? Well, you definitely can't build a solid historical case without geography, maps, and timelines. You're going to master how geography literally shapes reality, develop some serious proficiency with maps and graphs, learn how to organize time, and really tear into those sources. These aren't just vocabulary words on a page. These are the actual instruments you'll use to pick the locks on the mysteries we'll see in all the upcoming units.
Moving right along to Part 2, Early Civilizations. This is Unit 2, focusing on the first civilizations, Egypt and Israelites. Okay, so once your toolkit is packed, we dive into a 9-week journey exploring some of the very earliest human societies in existence. Just imagine trying to text your friends without an alphabet, or, writing a massive essay on a heavy clay tablet. The Mesopotamians and Egyptians revolutionized the entire world by developing early writing and creating papyrus. Meanwhile, the ancient Israelites established scripture that went on to heavily influence the religions of Europe. We're talking about huge, concrete, technological, and cultural leaps here that forever altered the human trajectory. But these inventions don't just exist in a vacuum. A major focus here is the stark contrast between science and technology versus economics. Think of it kind of like this. Inventing an amazing new video game. That's the technology side. But figuring out how to manufacture, price, and actually sell it to millions of people, that is the economic side. You're going to explore how societies are built on both brilliant physical inventions on the one hand and the clever management of geography and resources on the other.
Next up is Part 3, Expanding the Ancient World. That's Unit 3, where we look at the Greeks, India, and China.
Over the next 10 weeks, the map just explodes in size. The ancient world gets way more interconnected, and the innovations, they get even grander. The ancient Greeks developed their own complex writing system, and early China completely revolutionized global communication by creating paper. But here is a real mind-bender for you. Early India did something that fundamentally changed mathematics forever. They actually invented the concept of nothing. Yeah, they gave us the zero. Just think about how that single abstract thought makes nearly all of modern mathematics and technology possible today. Absolutely wild. Now, the big focus here, as the ARO standards put it, is that students will understand social systems and structures and how these influence individuals. Basically, how do societies manage people? Because once you invent paper and complex math, your population grows, your cities expand, and suddenly things get incredibly complicated. How on earth do you govern a massive, diverse group of people without modern technology or the internet? This unit shifts heavily towards society, identity, and government to figure out exactly how these massive empires manage their enormous social structures. All right, Part 4, New Empires and Faiths. Unit 4 covers Rome, Christianity, and Islam. Here, we are looking at a massive clash of physical engineering and deep spiritual thought over a 10-week deep dive. The Romans, well, they were master engineers. They built literal empires with new inventions like concrete and the arch.
Meanwhile, sweeping cultural movements were taking hold at the exact same time. Christians were shaping the religious beliefs of the West, and Islamic civilization was not only spreading a new faith, but also inventing algebra. It's just a stunning blend of hard physical engineering and really profound intellectual leaps. Of course, when massive societies expand, they inevitably bump into each other. You're going to study the messy, super complex interactions between these empires. You really get the very best and the very worst of humanity here. Epic trade networks and intricate systems of international exchange for sure, but also devastating wars, high-stakes conflict, and the very delicate art of diplomacy. This is where history becomes a truly dramatic global web. And finally, Part 5, Solving Ancient Global Problems. These are your final outcomes. By the end of this journey, you're going to have mastered 4 major skills. Step 1, you'll compare political systems across completely different empires. Step 2, you'll confidently explain complex religious and cultural ideas. Step 3, you'll trace trade routes and see exactly how technology diffused across the globe. And Step 4, you will evaluate the true historical legacy of these civilizations. It is definitely not just a checklist, it's your ultimate mission as a historian. You won't just know what happened, you'll know why it matters. So, this is the epic 39-week timeline you're about to conquer. 10 weeks of foundations in Unit 1, 9 weeks of early civilizations in Unit 2, 10 weeks of the expanding ancient world in Unit 3, and a final 10 weeks covering new empires and faiths in Unit 4. The momentum never stops. Every single week builds directly on top of the previous block. The ancient world is waiting to be explored, and your toolkit is basically ready to go. Remember, those skills you learn right at the beginning, evaluating sources, reading maps, understanding credibility, those aren't just for the first 10 weeks. They are the keys that will unlock every single mystery you encounter for the rest of the year. Based on all the incredible innovations and complex societies we're going to study, which ancient civilization do you think had the most lasting impact on how we live today? Keep that question in the back of your mind as you start Unit 1. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.